is America's coolest conservative and the future king of talk radio. 107.9 FM WBT presents The TJ Ritchie Show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it's Friday night, and we're feeling all right. The Green-Eyed Patriot on the air everywhere. Man, I was just listening to that Sharon Thorsland. Not only is she a great sports person, she's also pretty. Very pretty lady. But it seems like every time I hear her before I'm coming on the air here, she's given some sort of an injury report for basketball and baseball. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because it used to be that basketball players and baseball players never got hurt. You never heard of baseball players and basketball players getting hurt back in the day. When I played in high school, you always have that kid who's good at football, but he's also good at basketball or really good at baseball, and he has to make that choice. You know, it's like his mama wants him to quit football because she doesn't want him to get hurt and mess up his chances of playing baseball or basketball on the next level. Because it was just understood that baseball players and basketball players don't get hurt. But they do now. It seems like they're always hurt. Broken hands, out for the season. NBA players just taking rest days. Is it because, I'm not accusing, I'm just asking, is it because of the softness of today? Basketball players are a lot softer. I think they are. Because you can go back and I'm not a basketball fan. I don't watch basketball. But from what I can tell from highlights and catching a little commentary here or there, nobody plays defense in the NBA anymore. That's where it's tough, is on defense. And then they're still getting hurt. They're still needing to take days off. Calling LeBron a crybaby. Like crybaby Bron. I've heard him call that. I don't know. Just asking. But I do know it's not right. I know that Jesus doesn't want it to where basketball players and baseball players are acting hurt all the time. I know that for a fact. That's biblical. They don't want that. All right. So I have something for you here that is very disturbing, but it is so telling of today's society. This is a teacher. This teacher looks to be about, late 20s, maybe 30. Teacher is African-American. Teacher is a big strapping man that pretends to be a woman. And he is upset at some of the parents of the students in his class. And he's letting the world know about it. He's the one that caused this Teacher Chronicles. Trans Teacher Chronicles. So this is just part 1. He hasn't posted part 2 yet, but we'll sure be on the lookout for it. Listen to this.
On today's episode of the Trans Teacher Chronicles, it was brought to my attention that last week a request was put in by a student to guidance to not call me Mrs. Taylor. Instead, they want to call me Teacher Taylor. Now, to some of y'all probably thinking like, well, what difference does it make? Well, here's the reason behind the request. Apparently, it is against their religion to call me Mrs. Even though I present as female, all my legal documents say female. So now the issue is being escalated up to human resources.
All right. Again, I'm going to translate for people who don't keep up with this day to day. He said, even though I present as female, which means even though I tell everybody I'm female, I'm not a female, But I lie to everybody and tell them I'm a female. So it's just the way it is. Because I present as female. You know what? I present as 30 years old with a head full of luscious hair. So y'all better start treating me as such. Huh. Okay, here we go.
To figure out if they're going to grant this request. To figure out if I have any protections. The world is crazy. And the education field is crazy. But I just want to let any trans teachers out there know that we will not be silenced. We will not be killed off or executed from the education world.
All right, there's that dramatic language again. We will not be killed off or executed from the teaching field. And these people are crazy. The people who don't want to go along with and affirm and celebrate my delusion. Can you believe these crazy people who have a religion that would tell them not to accept that I am a mentally unstable person who thinks I'm a member of the opposite sex and they don't celebrate it? Can you believe how these weirdos act? These weirdo students and families, these religious people? God. But they're not going to execute me. No, ma'am. They will not.
I guarantee you, I will still be called Mrs. Taylor. Probably by the end of all of this. But yeah, it's just so funny. So that was episode 1 of the Trans Teacher Chronicles. See you tomorrow.
Okay, so now this could all be settled by doing the logical thing in the beginning, which would be to never hire a mentally ill person to teach children to begin with. There you go. Now, here's another thing that we must deduce from his little sassy crying session here. The kid who complained, I guarantee you, the kid that complained because of his religious views are not Muslim. Because if the religious views of the child were Muslim, they would have told this teacher, this is what you're going to do. If that kid calls you a man, you better be a man. If that kid tells you it's his religious beliefs that you need to jump rope every morning and go home and take your dog to somebody else because they don't want to be around you because you've been around a dog and you're dirty, you better do it. But if it's a Christian kid or maybe a Buddhist or something, then we'll run it up the flagpole, see what we can do so you're not offended. See, the narcissism is all wrapped up in that as well. Oh, you will call me Mrs. Taylor because I demand it. Well, no. Because what are you going to do? Even if I took my kid out of the school, which is what I would do if the school assigned my child to a class where there was a obvious mentally unstable person teaching, I would say move my kid to another class, or I would probably just say I'm getting my kid out of this. And if there was a fit thrown like this one, like this sassy outburst here, I would make sure to drive by the school every day and yell out, Mr. Teacher. Just because he got smart with it like that. He got a smart mouth on him. That's what I would do. But then again, sometimes I'm not so mentally stable either. But I'm not responsible for your children either. And you're going to sit and call these people weird. They are so weird. They are strange. They are crazy. They are crazy for not treating me like a woman, because I'm a big, strapping man. Won't call me Mrs. Taylor. Huh. Can you believe how weird these people are? Wow. All right. We got the Blue-Haired Mother of the Year award is coming up next. You don't want to miss that. Hang on. The TJ Ritchie Show is on. Welcome back. I am America's coolest conservative, TJ Ritchie. Doing that thing. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that thing. That thing be thangin'. You know what I'm saying? 704-570-1079 is the phone number. Call it, text it. Thanks to Liberty Buick, GMC. This is an important moment because I don't think I have ever officially endorsed a candidate for office. I mean, I've spoken highly of and made it clear people I want to win in certain races in the past on the radio, but this is my official endorsement of Michael Whatley. Mr. Michael Whatley for U.S. Senator for North Carolina. Now, I just so happen to like Michael Whatley, but even if I didn't, which I do, but if I didn't, I would endorse anybody over Roy Cooper. That demon, Roy Cooper. I saw him at a Hornets game one night, hanging out with his friends or something. I don't know. And I kept wondering how he was staying in the seat and not just sliding off of it because he's so slimy. Like, how is he managing to stay in that seat and not just slide off into the floor? Ugh. It's a bad, bad man. Bad, and not in a good way. Terrible. Just terrible. So, Michael Whatley, all the way. Now, let's see if Michael Whatley calls and thanks me for that endorsement, like he did out in police. Huh. If he doesn't, then I'm not going to endorse him anymore after he beats Cooper. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, of course. I'm joking. All right. Picture this. Super, super skinny woman. Big, huge, oversized eyeglasses. Not sunglasses, but like vision glasses. Spectacles. Sitting on the ground, making a video of herself. Blue, electric blue hair. Pulled back in a ponytail. Wearing a tank top. And she is speaking about her son going to school for dress-up day or something along those lines. And how she was nervous about it because kids can be mean and so forth. Because she sent him to school. And again, he looks maybe first grade. The picture that was posted with this story. Maybe first grade, second at the most. And she sent him to school dressed as a drag queen. And you can hear the emotion in her voice that is stirred up by the fact that she sent her son to school dressed as a drag queen. Listen.
Here's my final update on my 10-year-old son choosing to be a drag queen for career day at school. Obviously, I was a nervous wreck. I'm very protective of my kids, and I wanted him to have the best possible experience, which I know you can't put your kids in a bubble as much as we wish to and protect them for everything. So we did have a talk going into today, which Liam is like very level-headed. And I always tell my kids that you cannot control somebody else's opinions of you, what they say to you, or how they try to make you feel. What you can control is your reaction to that and the power that you give those people through your reaction. Sorry, I bit my lip. So he knows that, and going in today, he knew that what other people had to say is not an actual reflection of him, it's a reflection of them. So he was already in a great headspace and very positive. He said that his teachers all loved it. There were some issues when he first went in today, and over half his class ended up getting recess taken away from them because of their behavior. So he was backed up, and he felt great about that. One kid did cause a stink and refused to sit by Liam and demanded to be moved. So Liam said they got their table changed, which is okay. And then when that happened, the other kid that had to sit by Liam decided to get up and move themselves, which Liam said they were then told to go back and sit down. And then they were kind of nasty to him about having to sit by him and told him that it was his fault. But Liam said it didn't really bother him and that he got a lot of compliments from his favorite teacher, who's a big fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. So all in all, it was a very good, positive experience. I can't tell you how happy my heart was seeing him come around the corner and he was still in his outfit. So I knew it was a good day for him. And thank you so much to everybody that has been so supportive. Honestly, this has been crazy. Sometimes I forget that other people can see what I post on social media, and I use it like my little diary and just speaking out into the void. So I'm really happy that this reached all the right people, and thanks for joining us on this journey. This is just the beginning for him.
Okay. Bless his heart. Seriously. I feel so sorry for this kid, and I feel sorry for her other kids. She is a terrible mother. Terrible. Now the teachers, it's a different story. And I'm no big cheerleader for these liberal government school teachers that you see all the time on internet and all this stuff. But the teachers are in a difficult spot here because obviously they don't want the little boy mistreated. They don't want he's innocent. He's 10 years old. He's innocent. This is his mom using him to make a point and for her to be seen is what this is. It's not for him. It's for her to be seen. I'm going to do this. You know why? Because a mother controls everything that a 10-year-old wears and does. This was for her satisfaction, not his. Now, should the school have allowed this? Let me put it this way. Look at it from this perspective. Let's say it's career day and a kid wanted to dress up like Charlie Kirk in a government school in an area of the country that has people like this mother, this blue-haired mother. How fast do you think that school would have sent that kid home if he showed up dressed like Charlie Kirk? If he showed up dressed and said, I'm Charlie Kirk, or Donald Trump, or what if he put a bald cap on to make him look bald and showed up in a suit and said, I'm Stephen Miller? They would have sent him home. And the reason they would have given is because it was causing a disturbance with the other kids. Okay, well, what about this? This little kid admitted half of the class got all up in arms and they had to be held in from recess, punished because of their reaction. And these parents like this, I look at it like this is almost akin to Munchausen syndrome by proxy. You know, where a parent makes a kid sick or pretends that their kid is sick, so the kid gets attention, but the parent is really the one that's feeding off of the attention that the kid gets. That's the way I look at this in this parental situation. It's like, you know, look at me. Look how open-minded I am as a parent. Oh, I've got a point to make, and I'm going to use my impressionable, innocent 10-year-old to make the point. I guarantee you this woman has no friends. And she gets all of her interactions and support and everything from her kids. She is her kids' friend. I guarantee you that's the case. If I were to guess, that's what I would say. So she uses her kids for her own emotional satisfaction. Sick. She's sick. All right, we're going to play a fun game next. Well, fun for you, but maybe painful for me. You know, it's Friday. I like to shake it up a little bit. So we're going to shake it up at my expense as I keep it real. You don't want to miss it. We'll get into it next. Hang on. .9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. Welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show. Rocking at the speed of light. Unapologetic, in-your-face conservatism. Soy el jefe de la radio. Translation, I am the boss of the radio. For all my Spanish-speaking radio family listeners. All right. I found this video of a young lady today, and I thought, well, this is not a campaign speech, but if it were a campaign speech, I think I would consider voting for her. She's just basically ranting, but I think this would make a great platform for a candidate running for office. Check it out.
Bringing your bougie and your woke stores and restaurants and other businesses to small towns and wondering why they don't flourish, because we don't want them. The people demanding a Trader Joe's in a town of 500 people, I guarantee you, are not the locals. We're fine with the Piggly Wiggly. We don't need 18 pizza shops. We got one barbecue spot and a mom and pop diner. That we are good. We've been riding with that for the last 35 years. We are good. We don't need 3 hot Pilates studios, because the only people that exercise are the same 5 women who walk laps around the park that they have been for the last 60 years. We don't need daggum HOAs in our neighborhoods. We like our broken down John boats and our broken down trucks in the front yard. Don't mess with it. We don't need a mother trucking stoplight, if y'all would just pay attention. And we don't need 800 more freaking homes. Cows used to live there. And now we got people. We're sick of it. We are sick of it. We like how it is. Go touch some grass. But not our grass. Leave our grass alone, because y'all are probably going to change it to fucking concrete.
She's got my vote. Hell yeah. Okay, so we're going to have a little fun here. Well, you may have fun with this. I don't know how much fun I'm going to have with it. This could be a complete bomb as far as a radio segment. But I am keeping it real. Now, back when the Ace and TJ show was on the air, we used to do a thing you know, it was fairly a regular, what do you call it, a recurring bit on the radio is what we call it, a bit. And it was basically called You Love the Show, but You Hate One of Us. So people would call and say, you know, I love the show, but I hate TJ. You go, all right, well, why do you hate TJ? And then they would go off on me. I'd say, I love the show, but I hate Yankee Pete. All right, why do you hate Yankee Pete? Because he did So since it is just me on the show, just I am on the show, we're going to do it a little differently. And you call or text 704-570-1079, and you say, I like the show, but I hate when you do blank. Or, I love the show, but I hate this one thing. Okay? And look, this is your opportunity. If you've been sitting and yelling at your radio and saying, stop doing that. Oh my God, stop it. Stop it. I hate that. I hate when you do that. Then this is your opportunity to tell me straight up what you hate. Hey, I love the show, but I hate hearing you complain that they don't pay you. Okay, fair enough. Which, by the way, the job rates were a disappointment. Those numbers that were just released, and said that companies aren't spending money because they're worried about the tariffs and all. Well, put WBT in that crowd. They must be worried about the tariffs. You know, you could say, I really like your show, but I hate hearing about you and your glory days on the Ace and TJ show. Whatever it is. And, you know, I mean, you can get nasty too. I don't care. Not nasty as in vulgar, profanity, but nasty as in nasty with the insults. Because, I mean, I get them anyway. People calling me a Nazi on a nightly basis and calling me fat and everything else. But then I always have to correct them. Say, I'm not a Nazi and I'm not as fat. Now, I don't want you talking crap about anybody else, meaning, like, don't call in here and go, I like your show, but I don't like Lonnie when he answers the phone. Or I don't like Andrew when he answers the phone. When I call, they don't put me through. Or, you know, stuff like that. Because, you know, what, Lonnie? I thought Lonnie was about to say something. Oh, here's a good one. I love the show, but I hate the part where you talk. Great. That's from Scotty. And then I do appreciate this. I really do. It says, we like everything. Nothing we don't like. This from Ron. I appreciate that. But, you know, I'm trying to learn here. I'm trying to grow. You know what I'm saying? Trying to grow. And I'm usually not good with people insulting me because I like to lash out at them. Now, I'm not going to say I won't say anything back and try to cut you down because that's just my nature. But I'll try not to. I'll try not to do that. Okay. Okay, Matt says, I love the show, but I hate when you give out the phone number and then don't take any calls. All right. Well, I could work on that. I get it. I could take more calls if I wanted to slow the show down completely and make it uninteresting. Because nobody's going to say anything as interesting as what I'm saying. I'm kidding, of course. I kid. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. I do find myself going, oh, you know what? I haven't taken any calls. I need to take a call. I took, how many did I take last night, Lonnie? I took about 3 or 4 last night in a row. I think that might have been a record.
Yeah.
But you have to think about it this way, too. At the time of night that this show is on, I have to worry about people being drunk. I've gotten burned being on this time of night on WBT. I've gotten burned several times with people getting on and being drunk or lying to the call screener. And then when they get on the air, they start trying to do a drunken comedy routine or something that just derails the show. So I have to be super cautious. But yeah, I'll give you that. You're right. I'll work on that. So call or text. You like the show, but there's one thing that you hate. One thing that you hate about this show. Let me know what it is. 704-570-1079. We'll get into more of these. Some of them probably really mean. Coming up next. Welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show. I'm TJ Ritchie. I'm the man. All right, we're doing a little psychological experiment here, a little exercise. So 704-570-1079 is the number. You can call or text. And the question that I have asked is, you like the show, but what's one thing you hate about it? So if you like the show, what is one thing that you hate about it? And it's, so I can learn, so I can grow. I can't afford to do any of these focus groups or anything, and God knows WBT can't afford it to do any of that kind of research and stuff. I mean, obviously, if they can't even afford to pay me, then they can't afford any research, You know why? Because Bo and Beth take all the money. All of it. That's why. But I digress. So here's a very constructive and very helpful suggestion here. It says, I hate this show and I hate you. Okay. Noted. Duly noted. Let's see. Ann said, I was on the struggle bus when your show started, but I kept listening and I love it now. Just took a minute to appreciate your humor. Don't hate anything. Okay. But she was saying I used to hate it all. But she gave me a chance, and now I'm the most wonderful thing in her life, is what I read into that. All right, so let's go to line one, fellers, in the studio. Let's see what Gonzo has to say. Hey, Gonzo.
Hey, TJ, man, I really love the show, but I just hate it when I'm driving down the road listening to you and I get to where I'm going too fast. I really hate that. But what I hate most of all is when I'm sitting in the parking lot listening to your show and you're talking and somebody walks up to me and they start talking. And they, and I tell them, I say, shut up, I'm listening to TJ, and they take it personal, and I really hate that. But the fact is, you're much more interesting than anybody that walks up and talks to me. And that's what I really hate, is they take it personal.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Gonzo. And, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, too. And my wife is the worst about it. She can be on her phone and watching videos and looking and laughing and doing whatever and not paying any attention to me. If I'm watching a news clip that I'm getting ready to put on the show that night and she starts talking and I'm still watching the thing, she gets mad. Let me know when you can get out of your phone for a minute. It's a complete double standard. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Yes, sir.
All
yes,
right.
sir.
Bye. See, that's fun. That's fun. Let's see. There were some other ones that people really didn't like. Oh, here's one. I like the show, but you're always so humble. I don't like that. Well, that's a good one. It doesn't like how humble I am. I'm just absolutely too humble. I know that gets annoying. I like the show, but my texts just go to spam folder. I must I must have said something sideways. I got that one. That one didn't go to spam. Chuck. I don't think. No, the only ones that I will block are the ones that are just, and I don't block them because it bothers me so much. I block them just to aggravate them. When they don't have anything constructive to say, you start calling me a racist or a Nazi and that kind of stuff. When they're not adding anything, I can't use any of that for content. So just to aggravate them to satisfy my own sense of humor or whatever, I just block them. I used to do that on social media if anybody ever said "Roll Tide" for any reason, because we're on the radio in Alabama on my other show, and we were on in Birmingham for 20 years as one of our affiliates, and so I'm an LSU fan. But if they said "Roll Tide" in any way, just to aggravate them, I would block them. And again, that's just for my own selfish satisfaction. That's what that was. Here's another one. I hate the way you say Hakeem Jeffries' name. It grosses me out. Other than that, I think you're great. You're different in a good way. So I guess it grosses them out when I say Hakeem Jeffries like that, because it sounds like I'm hawking. Which I get it. I enjoy your show, but I hate that crank it or yank it skit. All right. That's something that we do on Friday nights usually, where I play a song that you probably haven't heard, and then you call and say whether you want to crank it, meaning it's a good song, or whether you want to yank it, meaning you don't ever want to hear it again. Yank it off the radio. So I guess we won't be doing that next hour. Thank you. Ruined it for everybody. Then gave me a duplex about it. Here's another one. I love your show for the most part, but I get uncomfortable when you call yourself an expert on black people. I'm black, and I haven't heard you say anything that has offended me, and I can tell by the things you say that you must have grown up around black people. But it just makes me nervous that you're going to say something that will make me not like you anymore. Okay. But I don't say I'm an expert on black people. I say I'm an expert on race relations. I say I'm the country's leading expert on race relations. That's what I say. So it's not the same. And I am. I am the leading expert. Like the show, but I hate the fact that Bo and Beth take all the money. I do too. I do too. And that's from Garrison. He knows. He knows all about it. Nobody else is broadcasting from the Italian Riviera like they do. Oh, wait. I don't even know if we were supposed to tell that, because they were hiding that they do their show sometimes from the Italian Riviera. Oh, well. Listen, it says, hey, TJ, it's your first listener, Scott from Weddington. I'm still listening. I like the show, but I'm annoyed when you ignore texts, especially ones as funny and insightful as mine. I'm 0 for 4 on texts so far. And candidly, sometimes there are times when you are so judgmental and can only see your perspective. It pees me off. And I appreciate when you bring the insanity in the world to light and get me laughing. So I am 0 for 5. No, you're not 0 for 5. I know I've read some of your text on the radio, Scott. I know I have. Well, I know for sure I have now. All right, they're still coming in. I mean, they're crazy coming in here. I think we might have set a record tonight for the most text in the shortest amount of time of anybody on the radio station, including Bo and Beth and Pete Callender. Boom. Take that. All right. How long do I have here, Lonnie? Okay. I got a lot to get into in the next hour, and it's very interesting. I'm not going to be as silly in the next hour because it's talking about something serious. That something serious is one of the biggest downfalls of our society, and it is known as radical feminism. Uh-oh. You ladies about to learn something? We'll get in it. Coming up next.
He's America's coolest conservative and the future king of talk radio. 107.9 FM WBT presents The TJ Ritchie Show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, here we are, hour number 2 on The TJ Ritchie Show. And look, there's a lot of stuff to get to this hour, some stuff that I've been meaning to get to all during the week. That's why we call it the Friday cleanup. So I can go back and take some of the stuff that I didn't have time to get to and really throw it out there on Friday before the week. Because once the week's gone, everything changed. 704-570-1079 is the phone number to call or text. Texting thanks to Liberty Buick GMC. All right. I want to get into something that is a very important topic to me, something I'm so interested in because it affects our society in such a negative way. And you hear me rail against this particular group of people a lot. But the only reason I do it is because I feel that it is important. And that group is the radical feminists, which have now become pretty much the mainstream feminists of the day. Now, radical feminism is so destructive and has been so destructive to our society because it attacks the number one enemy of the Marxists, and that is the family unit, the traditional family unit in America. That is the number one target of the American Marxists and, well, communism in general, because you're supposed to have the security and go to the government for everything rather than being able to depend upon the people you love and who love you the most, being your family. So once you break apart the family unit, then people will start to turn to the government for everything. Now, I have often said that the initial idea of feminism was great. I'm in favor of the original idea of feminism, which is that women should be treated equally. But then feminism got hijacked by the radicals who changed it from women being treated equally to men and women are the same. Could I say that any more southernly? The word men. I said men and women are the same. Not should be treated equally, but they are the same, which is not the case. Men and women are not the same. Okay, so there is a lady, and her name is Erica Commissar, and she refers to this wave of feminism being the second wave. The radicalization of feminism is what she calls the second wave. And the thing that happened in the second wave that was so detrimental to our society was the invention of daycare and what daycare has been used for. This is really interesting. Listen.
Daycare was the feminist agenda. It was about the second wave of feminism. They said, put your babies in daycare. It's the only way you're going to go back to work and work. And they didn't talk about children. The first wave of feminists, they talked about children. Mary Shelley And Mary Wollstonecraft, they believed that mothering was powerful work. It was work. It was a career. It was admired. It was elevated. They also believed in fighting the patriarchy. They believed in equality, but they didn't forget about mothering. The second wave of feminists, I think it was Betty Friedan said that staying at home with your children was, she called it a concentration camp with comforts. That was the beginning of the tide. That's when the tide turned for women, where the narrative changed. So women who were loving being mothers and loving raising children, suddenly were told that they were in a concentration camp and that they were prisoners and oppressed. And some of them were, and some of them probably shouldn't have had children, and many of them weren't. And even today, people write me every day and say, thank you for saying what you say, because society's narrative is so much about we have no value unless we go out into the workforce.
And that's what it's all about with these radical feminists. When the communism took over, the feminist movement, basically, it is women should be free to do whatever you want to do. You can do anything you want. You are a free, strong woman, unless you choose to do something that we don't think you should do. You see, women are so mean to each other. If you're a man and you've lived around women, and you're of a certain age, let's say older than 35, you know how mean women are. And they're mean to each other, cutting, biting, backstabbing. I mean, they are vicious to each other sometimes. So these radical feminists who didn't have loving men and didn't have a purpose in the traditional American wife or American woman role, instead of just doing their thing, they had to bully women who were happy with their roles in life, who had loving husbands, who just wanted to be treated equally and be at the same table of society that a man was at. And they loved being moms. They loved being wives. They loved doing what they did. They got bullied by these mean, ugly women who didn't have men who were respectable or tough or masculine or whatever the case may be. They were miserable. All of them. They were just as miserable then as they are now, even more so. And they bullied these other women into doing what they wanted them to do. And now you end up with, several generations of women who have unfulfilled lives, or they've, farmed off the raising of their kids to daycare centers and stuff. And how has it affected society? Negatively. That's how. Now, another thing about feminism is that it's a constant search for victimhood. There's a constant quest for victimhood in the United States today anyway. Not just with feminism, but in liberalism all the way around. Like the most valuable thing you can be in society is a victim. All right, so listen to this. Now we got a podcast of young women talking, and they're talking about who has it worse at work, who has it the hardest at these jobs that women have been forced to go into, or they've been made fun of and bullied by the radical feminists. Listen to this conversation.
What type of person has the hardest time succeeding in the workplace?
Childless women are the people who have the hardest time in the workplace. Who is the person who's picking up the slack during bedtime or bath time? Who's the person who's stepping in on, over Easter or Christmas or something like that? It's the person who seems to have more flexibility, more time that actually gets the end of the stick. Not necessarily just the woman with kids.
So you see, now we're all out here working. Radical feminism has pushed us into working, and now we've got to determine who's the bigger victim of the women who are working. Who's the biggest victim? And that would be women with no kids, single women. So the women who decided to have a family, even though they're working, they still decided to have a family. They're still the enemy. You see, they're selfish. I've got it worse than they do. So when you stop and think about all of the things that this radical feminist movement has done, and think now, when do women get celebrated the most in our society? It's when they do things that are traditionally man things. Think about it. When do they do these human interest stories on the news or in sports, things like that? It's when a woman is doing something in what they would call a man space. They don't get celebrated for doing feminine things or things that are traditionally a woman's role in our society. No. It's always when they do manly things. Only time they get celebrated. And we got to get a handle on it. We got to get a handle on these dames, on these broads, on these skirts. I love doing that. All right, we got to take a break. We got more coming up. Hang on. Welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show. I am the green-eyed patriot, unapologetic, in-your-face conservatism all the damn time. That is right. So it's Friday, got to get down on Friday. Something is going on this weekend that I don't quite like, and that is the spring forward time change. And I used to like that. I mean, I like spring and summer and, all of that. I'm always, out there trying to get a tan. I'm in the summertime, they call me LeBron's. That's what they call me, or Tanning Tatum, whatever. But since I've been working at WBT 107.9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk, I don't like being on the air when it's still daylight, because if I'm going to be the night guy, I want to be on at night. You see, radio has a different feel depending on the time of day. Now, I am a decorated, probably one of the most well-respected morning radio hosts in the country, and the second most successful morning radio host in Charlotte history. So that's a different feel, being on in the morning. But when you're on at night, like this show has a completely different energy, I think. It has a different feel when it's dark. When it's dark and the lights in the skyline are flickering and beaming and all of that, and you can look out there in the Charlotte skyline and know, look at that. I wonder how many muggings and murders are going on right now in that big dangerous city. It's a different feel. I mean, I don't want to be the dusk guy. You say, oh, he does dusks. Because in radio, you'll say whatever time of day. He does mornings. He does middays. He does afternoons. He does nights. Well, nobody does dusks. It's blah. Just saying. Okay. So, there is something that goes on in our society. Like I said, taking this last hour of the show for Friday and cleaning up some of the stuff that I have hanging out there that I wanted to discuss throughout the week that I didn't get a chance to get to. And, I am the nation's leading expert on race relations. And there is something that came about maybe 5 years ago. It wasn't even a thing until about 5 years ago. And that was accusing people of what do they call it? Appropriation. Like you're appropriating someone's culture, cultural appropriation. Now, what that means is it's a list of things that white people are not allowed to do anymore, which is BS. This is America. It used to be where if you saw something in another culture and you thought it was cool and you wanted to do it, it was a compliment, right? But not now, because white people have to constantly be demonized because of the Marxist left, the Democrats that run the Democrat Party. They've infiltrated people's minds to make them think that white people are evil no matter what, and that white people are evil even when they appear to be nice, and they don't even know that they're white supremacists. White supremacy and whiteness is something that is embedded in white people, and even they don't know it sometimes. So how do you combat that? If you say, no, I'm not a white supremacist by any means. Well, you are. It's just it's in your genetics, and you just don't know that you are. No, I'm pretty sure I'm not, because I know what a white supremacist is, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not one. Thank you very much. So, cultural appropriation. Every other culture is allowed to do things that white people invented or that white people do, but that doesn't count. Because they've forwarded this concept that white people have no culture. There is no white people culture. Black people invented everything, and whatever black people didn't invent, Hispanics invented. That, forget everything that you live in America. America itself, their military weapons, computers, cars, planes, everything that was created by white people doesn't count. You've been lied to by your history teachers. It was all created by black people and Hispanics, and now Somalians. Somalis created most of it. So this is a prime example of that. This is just a young woman in her car, and she's talking about white women wearing those bonnets on their heads that black women wear all the time, and then now white women wear it. And this is what this woman said about that. Listen.
Today, I don't think white people should be wearing bonnets. It never sat right with me. I always hated it. When the Get Ready With Me's would come up on my For You page. All
right, so to some of our older listeners here, Get Ready With Me videos, that's on TikTok and all, where women and girls video themselves getting dressed, showing what outfits they're wearing, how they're doing their makeup and all of that. Okay? Because of course they would. Why would they not? Right? Okay.
Would have the under eye things, and the white girl would take her bonnet off and her hair was completely straight under. That used to piss me off. It still pisses me off. And I'm already knowing if this video does get a little bit of traction, everybody's going to be under the comments saying, you guys didn't invent them, or bonnets are for all types of hair. It's been proven. I'm a cosmetologist and this, that, and the third. Why, when a black woman tells you guys something that makes her uncomfortable, your first instinct is to invalidate her feelings, pull up fucking receipts of bullshit, use your cosmetology school as credibility to discredit what she's saying, blah, 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 blah. No, you guys are cosplaying black women, and when the black woman in question says, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this, you write her off and disregard whatever the she's saying.
Okay, now, that's so key. She is saying that it doesn't matter what the facts are. If a black woman accuses you of something and you try to defend yourself, that's wrong. Even though bonnets were invented in Europe by white devils in the 13th century, it doesn't matter, because you can say, quote, this, that, and the third, end quote, and you're invalidating what I, as a black woman, am saying and feeling. And that is not allowed, even if you're right, and even if I've falsely accused you of doing something. There's no defending yourself. Why? Because I am a black woman, and I have been taught by people who pander to me and my group, my marginalized group. They pandered to me and said, no one is to ever challenge anything that I say, and more importantly, anything that I feel. You can't invalidate what I feel. I will not allow it. That is the mindset of something like this. Now, I have to take a break, and we're about halfway through this clip. She gets into some other stuff that is so important as teaching moments for where the mindset of our young people in society is right now. So we'll get to that coming up next. Hang on. Oh, yes. Welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show. I am your ever-loving leader, TJ Ritchie, a.k.a. Soy el jefe de la radio. Translation, the boss of the radio. 704-570-1079 is the phone number. Call it or text it or do whatever. Whatever. Hey, if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. So what? So what? Who cares? Who cares? Heading into the weekend. Gonna be a beautiful, beautiful weekend, y'all. Gonna be real beautiful. I'm gonna be out in the public again, so if you see me and you would like to have a conversation with me, just pass a note to one of my security people. Let them run a background check real quick on you, and then if you check out okay, then I will speak to you directly. Maybe even allow you to have a photograph taken of us together. So I will be in Kannapolis Saturday at some point. So I would love for you to try to meet me. I would absolutely love that. Good luck. I'm kidding, of course. All right, so we are in the middle of breaking down the mindset of a young person, a young African-American lady, in U.S. America in 2026 when it comes to cultural appropriation. And this subject is cultural appropriation about white women wearing bonnets. She does not believe that white women should be wearing bonnets the way African-American ladies do. Okay, so she said that she doesn't think they should wear them. Then she went on to say, I know people are going to be on here saying this, that, and the third, where that's another cultural thing. As a white person, I should not say this, that, and the third, because that's what black people say. White people say this, that, and the other. Black people say this, that, and the third. So even though I have, more than your average amount of soul and knowledge of black culture than your average white person, I cannot culturally appropriate by saying this, that, and the third unless I am quoting an African-American. So I am quoting her. People are going to say this, that, and the third. And when they say, quote, this, that, and the third, they're going to be saying black people didn't invent bonnets and da-da-da-da-da. And she says it doesn't matter. Why is it that when a black woman says something, you have to come at her and invalidate her feelings and her thoughts, her words and her feelings? You've invalidated them. Okay, and we'll pick it up there.
That's my actual issue. My issue, not even the fact that y'all, no, it is the fact that y'all are wearing bonnets, but more so than that, is the fact that whenever anybody says y'all don't need to be wearing bonnets, y'all argue with them.
How dare.
Y'all were never on our side. Y'all were never on our side. Yeah.
Okay. So because as white people, we get falsely accused of cultural appropriation, defend ourselves at the accusation, we are invalidating her feelings as a black woman, and that means we were never on her side, which means that we've never been on the side of African Americans and their struggle, seeing them, seeing what they go through, understanding the oppression they go through day to day. We pretended like we understood, but by wearing a bonnet and then saying wearing a bonnet is, I mean, I have the right to wear a bonnet. First of all, we live in America. Second of all, white people invented bonnets. And how dare you point out the double standard and say, well, what about you? And how many black women straighten their hair? They go to great lengths to straighten their hair. That's white people hair. That is where the defense of white people don't have culture comes in. But straight hair is not for white people. Black people invented straight hair. Look it up. White people have nothing that wasn't invented by some other culture. That's the argument. Okay. So how dare you defend yourself and try to argue with me because I am black woman, hear me roar. You have to accept whatever I say, even if it is irrational. Okay? Here we go.
Now bonnets are trendy, and you cannot stand going without a trend. You can't. So you got to be like all the other get ready with me bitches on TikTok, and you got to get your little pink bonnet and your little sleep mask, and you got to make your get ready with me, even though your hair is overly straight, and you can have silk pillowcases. Like, I'm confused. A couple years ago, there was literally a debate about whether or not black women should be leaving the house in their bonnets because it's ghetto. And then the Caligarists just get on the plane with their bonnets, and it's like, OMG, wait, I love this for them. They're so brave. Yes. Ghetto until proven fashionable. Ghetto until it's trendy. Like, I can't fucking stand you.
Okay. Now, who were the people who were saying black women don't need to be getting on a plane wearing bonnets because it looks ghetto? Were those white devils? I don't think so. I think they were other African American peoples. That's who it was. Now, I'm not a fan of that style of bonnet on anybody. I think it looks ridiculous. Oh my God. I can't say that, even though I'm talking about white women too. The off-limits subject in America for white people, especially white men, is a black woman's hair. Why is that something that we are not allowed by law to speak about? Because they said so. You don't mention anything about a black woman's hair, or you're going to get canceled. Even if you're black, you don't say anything negative about a black woman's hair. Remember when Will Smith slapped Kid Rock? Not Kid Rock. Kid Rock would beat the crap out of him. I don't know, maybe not. Will Smith trained in boxing and stuff. Anyway, Chris Rock. The big thing was, well, you got to understand, you don't say anything. I mean, he was talking about her having her head, no hair, and you don't talk about a black woman's hair. Why? Because black women don't like it. They find it offensive. So, how many times do other people, black men, white women, how many times do people say offensive things about them? Can we just pick and choose? Well, okay, that's off limits. That offends me. No, we're not allowed to do that. But yeah, the bonnet it goes with pajamas. And I'm one of the first people to ever say, stop wearing pajamas on a plane. But I didn't say anything about, I don't know any white people that were on publicly saying that it's ghetto and black women shouldn't be wearing bonnets on planes. That was black people I saw doing that. But this is not just the mindset of black women. This is the young liberal mindset about everything. If something offends you, or if you accuse somebody of something that offends you, they are not allowed to defend themselves, because then they're invalidating your feelings. And we can't do that. That is not allowed. You cannot invalidate somebody's feelings. And it's all been, put in their minds by the Marxist left in America. I could say right now, I feel like I ought to be making $1 million a day doing this radio show. Don't you invalidate my feelings by saying that I don't. That's how ridiculous it is. All right, hang on. We got a lot more coming up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The TJ Ritchie Show. Unapologetic, in-your-face conservatism. I am the green-eyed patriot, TJ Ritchie, America's coolest conservative. Know that. Just about ready for the beautiful weekend. We're going to have some fun. We're going to be playing Where's TJ throughout the area tomorrow. Where will he be? Oh, it's stargazing is what it's going to be. If you're in the Kannapolis area at some point tomorrow, maybe you'll get a glimpse. Maybe you'll catch a rising star. I don't know. Okay. This is going to be a delicate subject, mainly delicate for the way I have to present it. Okay. But it's been a trend for a while now, a growing trend for men to be getting cosmetic procedures done. Now, cosmetic procedures, not just, like a hair transplant is a cosmetic procedure. Botox, that sort of thing. Liposuction. More and more men have been doing these types of things. Well, in the world of cosmetic procedures, they get more and more specific. Like there is a certain procedure where women have liposuction done on their knees. Like so specific like that. Get the fat sucked out around their kneecaps. Okay? There's another one of the more out there procedures that I think is women who have, their toes are where the second toe is a lot longer than the big toe. There is a toe shortening surgery that they get done. I swear. I'm not making that up. There is a procedure for bleaching. I would say would be, again, this is where I got to be careful. Bleaching a person's most intimate area. You know what I mean? The most private area of a person. Okay? Well, now there is a procedure that men are having done who have been, this says they've been on testosterone replacement therapy for several years. I don't think it should, if they're going to a reputable place, this is not happening that much, but if they're taking steroids and testosterone at levels, like shots of testosterone like bodybuilders would do, then they have shrinkage in their twins. Let me put it that way. So the twins shrink because testosterone is produced in the testicles. So when the body of the testicles are not producing their own testosterone, they shrink. They shrivel up because they're not doing any work. Okay. Well, there's an article in the New York Post. It says they're focusing here on 45-year-old Miguel Enda. And he noticed a common but less than aesthetically pleasing side effect, which is smaller boy twins. So, What is the procedure, you're wondering? The procedure is having filler injected into that region. A big needle with, it's almost like caulking, you know. So it fills up the vessel to make it look like the testicles are bigger. Okay? So it's not really making the testicles bigger, it's making the vessel in which the testicles are carried bigger. It's an illusion. All right. So this guy that they're featuring in the story, they describe him some point as a model and porn guy of some sort. Okay. Call him he's in the porn industry. All right. And they go on and they're talking about how more and more men are getting these procedures done and all that. There's a picture of him. He's covered in tats, wearing an undershirt, under tank top. And the guy standing there holding the needle and posing with the needle looks like his face is plastic. And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, so if this is that big of a deal to you, to where you are so worried about how big your testicles appear, and you're going to have this procedure done, then you are either gay or you are a low life in the porn industry. You're a low life porn person, right? And I'm thinking both, either or, and both would be the case. Now, the guy that runs the place, he says it's 50-50, hetero and gay. I don't believe that for a minute. The only heteros, again, that I'm guessing would go in and have this done are low life porn people. I don't know just your average straight guy who's looking at himself every day and going, I got to do something. I've shriveled away to nothing here. And I don't know any women who are just regular, normal American women who would say, oh my God, he's such a nice looking guy, and he's nice and polite, and he's a good provider, but he just, his testicles are just way, way too small. I have to have a man with some heftiness in that scrotal area. I know a lot about women, and I just don't think that ever happens. Oh, girl, so you went out with that guy? You went off for the weekend for the first time with him? Oh my God, how was it? How hefty were his boys? Tell me all about it. He's got some, I mean, you know, the other part wasn't that impressive, but those things were, woo! Surprised they didn't make a dong, dong, dong sound when he walks, like Quasimodo pulling a rope. Dong, dong. Wow, girl. Talk about a turn on. But it's 2026, y'all. This is what we're looking at. And look, if a man wants to get some Botox or he wants to do whatever, get a face, I don't care. But I'm just saying, don't come around and say that you're getting filler put in your business down there and that it's normal. It's just a new trend. Everybody's doing it. No, everybody's not doing it. You're weird. All right, that's it for the week. Go have a good weekend. That Nick Craig is coming up next. Remember, God loves you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to you when there's not basketball on. Bye.